All right, so welcome to week 3, June 15th, 2022, Metaphysics in the Bible, brought to you by Unity. Today, we're going to talk about where is your throne? We just went around the room and we looked at the question of the day. What does a throne mean to you? So we got some great responses, awesome discussion. And I'll just go through a little bit of our presentation and then we'll stop the recording and go around the room and continue on our discussion. This image here, we'll get into in a little bit. Hang on. All right. So we always start off with what's happening in the sky because it's really important. The Egyptians, the Bible is an astrology book, bar none, and it teaches us to look for these beautiful vibrations. They're not beings, they're vibrations that are meant for us, for you. So it's important that you don't have to go and learn these, just understand the signs when you see them, because everything that comes into your vision, everything that comes into your life is meant for you, nobody else. So what's happening in the sky right now, a lot of people are feeling energies, is the sun, which is you, is going from Taurus into Gemini. And the sun just transited Orion's belt. We talked about a little bit this last week. Orion's belt, the three kings. This is the story of the three kings. And of course, Sirius would be somewhere over here, which is the sun, which is born on December the 25th. If you look up in the sky around December 25th, you will see the three kings over your head. So the sun is making its way into Gemini. All right, so you got a little blow up here, Gemini. So what does Gemini mean? If you recall, we've talked about this. The Gemini resides on the 369, which is the Tesla's secret to universe vibrations, right? So you can see the snake on the box there. This box is going to become a little more apparent when we show you what's in the presentation today. So as the sun transits through Gemini, this is a very vibrational time of the year, this vibrational month. Right now it's passing a 5, and a 5 obviously is a cusp, and a cusp is very strong. So a lot of people are feeling lightheaded, depending on your natal chart. It's all dependent on your natal chart when you feel these or not. Every vibration that you do feel is in your natal chart. Nothing is by chance. The only thing you can do is be loving and squash the amplitude of the things that don't feel good and give amplitude to the things that are loving. And that's a reason why the Great Pyramids were built on that 18 degrees, this vibratory section right here. For some people that are new, I know it might not make a whole lot of sense. The other reason is this. Isis, Mary, the winged woman, she's the Holy Grail. She's been found. Okay, that's Eris in the sky, currently, what NASA calls her. She's returned. She was in Pisces. She's coming into our head. That's the corona chakra that we knew was going to happen. We predicted on May 15th, 2019, on a Facebook post that we're going to be going through a corona chakra cleanse. What's that? 7-8 months before they announced a coronavirus, we had already predicted a corona chakra cleanse because she, the winged woman, Mary, comes into Aries, our head. The Aries is another word for arise. This is the arising of the mother with the sun, Revelation 12:1. So Lex, this is the furthest she's been up till January 21st. This is going to be the deepest she's been in our head to give us that vibratory cleanse. The 7 plagues that are in the Bible, because that new sun gives us a brighter rainbow, brighter chakras, more cleansing. Kathy's friend she talked to today is all kinds of people getting dizzy. We showed signs of people getting dizzy, okay, on May 15th, 2019. There's astrologers that knew, but 95% of the astrologers today don't do it correctly. They're using tropical instead of what's actually in the sky. So just a little touch on the Holy Grail, who's in, the mother of all mothers, is coming back to purify us, to get rid of those vibrations that don't serve us spiritually, the materialism. So that's what's happening in the sky. She's deeper than she's ever been in 558 years. And the sun is moving into the vibratory of Gemini, which is the twins. Okay, so we're going to move on to the book of Revelation. 4, where it says, John sees God's heavenly throne. After this, I looked, and there was a door that had been opened in heaven. The first voice that I had heard, which sounded like a trumpet, said to me, come up here, and I will show you what must take place after this. At once I was in a spirit-inspired trance, and I saw a throne in heaven, and someone seated on the throne. Remember, these are just normal you and me that started seeing visions, Akashic records, okay? The one seated there looked like jasper and carnelian, and surrounding the throne was a rainbow that looked like an emerald. 24 thrones and 24 elders seated upon them sounded the throne. The elders were dressed in white clothing and had gold crowns on their heads. So on the Egyptian walls, you'll see many people sitting on the throne. You'll see women and you'll see men. These have been said, these are kings and queens. That's academia giving you the wrong information. This is you on the throne. And each different image is you in a different situation on the wheel. Each one of those is you as king or queen, but not on a throne, not on a physical throne. It's on the throne of you where you're seated. Many people say it's the brain sitting on the head sitting at work. Don't put a physical to it. The hawk is Horus, the all-seeing eye, revelation, your third eye, where you are able to start to see. Remember, I'm talking to you. This is about you. The Bible is about you in these different aspects of your life. A throne, if you go back to ancient Egypt, the woman would sit on a chair with a hole in it to give birth. So the throne in Egypt, which is an H, and H is the 8th letter, infinite. That's your infinite dyings on the cross, because if you stay materialism, you keep coming back. That's the reincarnation they took out of the Bible. The Bible was written from the Egyptian walls, which has beautiful glyphs. That's the Dendera zodiac, for those who don't know. I'll try to touch on it. So the H is the 8th letter. If you take the 4 and flip it over, it's also an H. Now I'm talking about the 4 that looks like this, not the 4. I'll add it to the video when I do the editing. But the 4 is an upside down H. And 4 in every ancient culture meant time. And there's no such thing as time. It's just a matter of expansion of our lives on the wheel. So this is showing that this version of you and the all-seeing eye, helping you seat on the throne, help you become spiritually stable, right? Now, all these glyphs have meaning to them, but we're still deciphering them because academia puts phonetics to these. They put kings' names to these. Some of them is okay, can be used, but most of them are just clearly attempts to make a language out of them, but they're not. Each one of those have 1,000 words to them. So I thought I'd throw this in here. On the Dendera zodiac, in Virgo, you'll see the queen on the throne with you getting a talk from the mother. That's Mother Mary giving you a talk because you've just came. So I'll show you in another picture, but this is you coming into the as below. When you sleep at night, when you go between lives until you're able to get off the karmic wheel. You got to be pure love to get off. Hence why we get all these experiences, all these tests, the weighing of the heart. So the queen on the throne in the Dendera Egypt. Now, the old deck of cards, I remember this. I remember seeing old decks of cards that my parents used to play with. The 13th card wasn't the king, it was the queen. So if you see these old cards, you can see that the queen was a 13th card. Okay? That's a queen. And she sits on a throne. The king and the jack, they're not on a throne. Man has taken the divine feminine out of the picture. The great Sphinx was remade as a man, it was a woman, it was marking the phoenix rising in
349 AD.
And the Egyptologists, they're missing it. That monument was a reminder of the phoenix rising that happens every 558 years, the true Easter. Book of Revelation continuing in 4. From the throne came lightning, voices, and thunder. In front of the throne were 7 flaming torches, which are 7 spirits of God. Sorry, this is an old note. I was going to write in there the number 7, that's your 7 chakras. With the new sun, the sun's bright right now. There's no doubt that the sun's brighter. We can see halos around the sun. That's why all paintings have halos around the people that you see, because it's a reminder of the phoenix rising happens when we start seeing the halo around the sun in the sky, which there's all kinds of pictures now of halos. I've shown them before in previous meetings. So he said something like a glass sea, like crystal, was in front of the throne. Could mean the third eye, could mean the firmament. In the center by the throne were 4 living creatures encircling the throne. We're going to get into that. These creatures were covered with eyes in the front and on the back. These are all misinterpretations of what's on the Egyptian walls. The first living creature was like a lion. The second living creature was like an ox. The third living creature had a face like a human being. And the fourth living creature was an eagle in flight. Well, we're going to get into this a little bit. That's the watchers, the 4 royal stars, the 4 corners of the earth, 4 zodiac signs. The lion is Leo. The ox is Taurus. The human is John the Baptist in Aquarius. The eagle in flight, that's the Scorpio. Scorpio and eagle are interchangeable. People get them confused. Each of the 4 living creatures had 6 wings, and each was covered all around on the inside with eyes. They never rest day or night, but keep on saying, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is coming." So these people were reading the Akashic record, like Lex is seeing these colors. They're going to see these images from past lives, from other people, from whatever, and from future, of the phoenix rising, of an Easter that's coming. Because the sun does keep coming back, because the mother keeps coming to save her son. But it's a metaphorical meaning of every time we get a personal phoenix rising, the ability to get revealed to, lift our veil, see that we're not this meat suit, see that we are spirits here having a human experience, if I may quote my beautiful wife when I met her. So we're going to talk a little bit about those 4 and where the potential came from and where they're seeing them from, the watchers, the royal stars. What are those 4 corners? Who are these 4 that they talk about, the lion, the ox, the human, and the eagle? This is all in the Bible, but nobody ever really explains it, right? Because they don't study the Egyptian walls. They don't study physics and metaphysics. They don't go out there, right, and just piecing these puzzles together. And there's so many people that are piecing it together. So this is what's called a canopic shrine. This is from globalegyptianmuseum.org. It's currently in the Egyptian Museum, dating of Tutankhamun. So you got to see, I've never seen anybody do this. Pull it apart. Tutankh, there's the word Ankh. You know the Ankh? This is an Ankh. This is an Ankh. A cross with a gold chain. The Egyptian held that. That's the infinite. You are infinite, but with the cross means you're continuously dying on the cross. You got to get off the cross. This is the breadcrumb that we held. That's why the Egyptians held the Ankh, circle with a cross. This is the breadcrumbs from our foremothers and forefathers to remind us. The church, before it was taken over by bankers, had all these beautiful things on who we really are, but there was no money in it, so it fell by the wayside. So the Ankh is the chain with the cross you wear around your neck. And Amun, there's much meaning in Amun. Anyway, the archaeological site that they took it from so they can make money off it, but it's protected too, I guess, right? I'm going to think positive, is the Valley of the Kings. canopic shrine made out of wood and was sculptured. So that is the canopic shrine. We'll get into a little bit. So here is Isis. This is the Virgin Mary. When you see the throne, that's the queen of all queens. That's the mother of all mothers. She's got the throne on her head, but she doesn't sit on the throne because she's not from this land. When she's sitting on the throne is when she becomes visible. She only becomes visible for X amount of time. That's the story of Isis going to the underworld, and she disappears, and then she comes back. So she comes into view again. So when she comes into view again, she's entering the material world so she can come and save us, cleanse us of our sins, our sine waves, our Akashic record vibes. From Thoughts of Ancient Egypt, a plastered and gilded wooden statue of the goddess Isis, extending her arms in protection across one of the walls of the outer canopy, made of similar materials of the canopic shrine that was found in the tomb of King Tutankhamun. And they say when he was reigned. 3 other goddesses protected of the shrine: Nephthys, Serket, and Neith. Each of the deities was associated with one of the cardinal points in the compass. Now, here's where different opinions come in on who they are and what they mean. So I'm reading them to you, but in hopes that we can surmise and come together and understand what the true meaning is, which we do understand. Within this canopic shrine was a second smaller plastered and gilded wooden case, the shrine proper, that enclosed an alabaster chest. This chest held 4 gold, and I cut it off there because it got materialistic. And it says embalmed organs. There is no need to embalm any of your organs. That is a misinterpretation. And embalming, when people go now and they die, then get embalmed and put in a grave and put in a tomb, that's a total misrepresentation of the mummification, the mummies they see in Egypt. That's the Egyptians that lost their way. You don't need to do that. They thought, oh, I get to come back if I keep mummifying myself. Totally misunderstood. Totally misunderstood. You're not in control. Spirit is. You are spirit. You are looking to go back with one love. So that's why I chopped that off intentionally, so I can leave that there so I can speak on it. So here's another image of the 4 different women, divine feminines that are around. There's only one divine feminine, but she plays several roles. That's what you'll see on the Egyptian walls, just like the kings and queens. That's all you in different roles. You have to play the divine feminine, the one who saves her son. In other words, anything that comes into your life, you have to play fisherman. You have to save them because that vibration is in your life for a reason. That's what the Egyptian walls is teaching us. That's what the foremothers and forefathers are trying to tell us. It's all about your life. Your story is Horus, hours around the clock. So consider now the stained glass window depiction of the 4 apostles in Somerset Church. Note the star symbol above and below each window. So there's 4 royal stars: Fomalhaut, Regulus, Aldebaran, and Antares. Really important. They're the 4 watchers. They're the 4 stars. I'll get into it in a moment, but there's one in Aquarius, Fomalhaut. There's one in Leo, the heart, Regulus. Taurus has Aldebaran, and Scorpio has Antares, which means Ant Aries. You got the little head Scorpio and the big head Aries. So they both have Aries in their title. So here's the thing. Aquarius is across from Regulus. Aquarius is John the Baptist. We're heading into the age of Aquarius on April 15th, 2023. It's across from your heart, Leo. So in order to be baptized, freed from our sins, our karmic waves, sine waves, that's what sin is, a sign, it's just a vibration. In order to be cleansed by them, you need to have a pure heart. That's why they're across from each other. That's why they're called the watchers. That's why they give us signs. We get amazing signs from these stars, especially if you have them in your natal. Taurus, the home of Mary Magdalene, the one who sleeps with Jesus, in other words, the woman who sleeps with man, is across from Scorpio. Scorpio rules the sexual organs, our temptations. So Taurus and Scorpio, those two stars, Aldebaran and Antares, are across from each other for a reason. Because we have to learn how to tame that scorpion and what it does with Mary Magdalene, Taurus. That's why these are called the four watchers. When people have these strong aspects to these stars, it's very noticeable, the signs they get. I've been blessed with my own experiences and teachings from these stars and the blessings and the gifts that come in front of me to learn this. Neith is in there. I thought it would be pretty neat to talk about Neith. Neith is the goddess of the ecliptic. What's the ecliptic? The ecliptic is the north and the south node, the line. You guys heard me talk about this before. The north and the south node. Okay? The north and the south node. They separate the sky. And I'll get to this snake in a minute when I drag a picture across. But there's Ra and Kanzu. So that's what Ra, when you say, well, where did this sign come from? That's from the Egyptian walls, Ra, the head of the snake, and Kanzu, the moon. Okay, this one has a moon disk and that one has a solar disk, right? This one has a snake because it's in manifest. It's creating vibration. We're in manifest. And then the moon, as you can see, has no snake. What's important about these two, for those that don't know, is that's what eclipses the sun and the moon. When the sun gets eclipsed and the moon gets eclipsed, that's Rahu and Ketu. That's what you'll see there. That's what the Indians call them, the Eastern Indians, Rahu and Ketu. So all this comes from the Egyptian walls. So Neith is the goddess. Seth, that's the Ibis, who owns the Akashic records. Remember, Akashic records are what you see. Everything in front of you of your life is the Akashic. You're swimming through the Akashic records. Spearing the snake, Apep, because the snake will put out the sun. So according to Inuit cosmology, Neith was the creator of the world and the mother of the sun, Ra. This made her mother of all the gods and connected her with Nun. However, she was also credited with creating Apep, which is this line between the north and the south node that eclipses the sun and the moon. Creating Apep, the great certain and sworn enemy of Ra, because Ra is the sun. He's here and manifests. Of course, the great enemy, when it's going to eclipse the sun, it's an enemy because we're leaving this physical body. Their interpretations of what they're speaking right here, it's not an enemy. It's a sign of who we are. So you can see all these words. You got to be able to read between the lines, splitting into the waters of Nun. But what they're really saying, splitting the waters of the sky, the spiritual waters, the starry waters, the firmament. There was just a little writing here that I put in here about Kanzu. The ancient Egyptian moon god was depicted either as a falcon wearing the moon disk on his head, left, or as a child of a moon, or Mut. So why am I showing you all this? Because these are all signs. For example, I know you, Tammy and Lex probably heard me talk about this before. I did somebody's chart who passed out at the wheel. His chart had a personal eclipse. The north and south node aligned with his full moon. He was born on a full moon. So when the ecliptic lined up with his sun and moon, full moon, he passed out. It's a sign where upon revelation, his friends asked me to do his chart. I did his chart. I showed him that there's nothing wrong with you. You just got a sign. You're supposed to pay attention now. You're being called. So that's not an enemy. It's not an enemy of Ra. It's spiritual mother coming to talk to you. So everything that happens to us is for us to remember, is to revelation, to be revealed to who we truly are, spirits looking to go back to one love. Okay, so we're kind of moving right along. So I'm going to just jump back. We're talking about thrones. We're talking about a shrine that has the mother who has the throne. She's in different forms, right? And one of the forms is Neith. And Neith is the one that can make you pass out, can give you signs. It's the ecliptic. She's constantly showing us signs by giving us eclipses. And we just take it as a materialistic thing. Oh, the sun is being eclipsed. Well, no, those are all signs that we are more than we think. And now with the halos and this revelation and all these spiritual groups starting up, it's because it's part of revelation. So who is Seth, the watcher of the south? In Egypt, the northern way is that which leads to the imperishable stars, the intelligible archetypes. The North Pole, the north, the middle point in the center of the field. If you're not into physics, metaphysics, not going to make sense to you, but the north means we're going in. We're going inward towards spirit. This path is aimed at liberation and eternal noetic life, while the southern path leads to the realm of becoming, or that of reincarnation into a mortal body. That means expansion, outward, materialism, the sun that creates things. That's here on earth. But if you want to go to the spiritual liberation, eternal noetic life, we have to be careful what we manifest. Manifest things with love, not materialistic things. That's what the Egyptians are teaching us. Thus, the southern sky is governed by Osiris, which is Orion, and Isis, Sirius. There's a little bit of confusion there, along with the 36 decans. The decans are what's around the Dendera zodiac, and when they rise before the sun, there's something important message in there. That is, the constellations are periodically rising and setting, dying and coming into existence, thereby symbolizing the psychosomatic world of becoming. We'll talk about in a minute about the dying. This is what the dying means. The rising of each decan occurs after it's passed 70 days of the invisibility of the duet. In other words, the sun goes round the zodiac, and when the sun passes in front of a star, you can't see it anymore, right? When you look up in the sky right now, can you see the stars? No. The sun is wiping them out. When the sun wipes out the stars, that's what they're calling death. They're misreading. They're not, the stars aren't dying, you just can't see them. Their influence on you may become less because of the sun. And then the Osiris, another one, a periodic corresponding to that of mummification. There's that mummification thing. The process supervised by Anubis, which is Pluto, the initiator of the mysteries of death and rebirth. Okay. Upon his arrival from the other world, the sun god purifies himself in the eastern horizon before his shining in heaven, where the four gods, Horus, the lord of the north, Seth, the lord of the south, Duenanwi, the lord of the east, and Thoth, the lord of the west, pour the water of life and pour over from him the four corners of the universe. So you can see there's all kinds of depictions, words, babble words trying to explain what those four corners, four canopic shrine, four watchers, four stars do for us. They're all about giving us signs on who we are. And it says this rare statue depicts King Amhotep assimilated with the sun god in his shining moment and the purification on the horizon. So this is from Jacqueline Engel. She is awesome. She's a very intelligent lady. She shares so much great stuff. It's awesome. And my hats off to her. So this is a beautiful image. This is the Ibis, Seth, Thoth. This is the Akashic record. It's the scribe. So when you see the Ibis, that means Akashic record. The memories in the waters that you've left behind. And then there's the all-seeing Horus, the eagle. So those two are pouring the spiritual waters over the head of you. In this case, it's a King Tutankhamun. To me, that means Aries, when we went into the age of Aries. Yet one more interesting thing. Oh, sorry. And here's the story. Seth chopped Osiris into 14 pieces. There were 14 false doors in the perimeter wall at those years' pyramid in Saqqara. At the judgment, the dead presented themselves before 42 judges representing 42 natural laws and Egypt's 42 provinces to recite 42 petitions of the negative confession. Understand that these words are misleading. They contain really good information, but those doorways there, and we're gonna get into the metaphysical astrology and music. They're trying to show us vibrations in music and how the universe, how this earthly realm works. You've heard of the 42 spiritual laws of Isis. The Christian slayer of the dragon had its model in the triumph of Horus over Seth. And there was a smooth transition from the nursing Isis to that of Mary. The miraculous birth of Jesus could be viewed as analogous to that of Horus, whom Isis conceived promiscuously from Osiris. And there is misinterpretation there too. Would that be Mary Magdalene? That be Juno? That be Nephthys? Yeah, one more interesting thing about Horus myth. Don't forget, Horus is you on the wheel, ours. The different kings that are shown in Egypt, that's you, Horus, ours, different lives. When Isis hit him in the reeds, Seth formed himself into a snake and bit Horus. Thoth stepped in and saved the boy with the help of a powerful spell from Ra. But all this business with snakes and spells does recall the torments Moses will heap on pharaohs centuries later in the Exodus story. So all those different 7 plagues, it's all fitting in. So when you look at this and you can think and you can hear other vibrations that we've spoke about before, the 7 scorpions of Isis, the new sun that's coming, the 7 chakras cleansing. That's what all this is about. Everything is about your own personal phoenix rising. So really quickly, the 4 and 20 seats, the 24 seats that they see, Revelation 4, a door into heaven, and round about the throne, 4 and 20 seats, it was done differently from a different book above. And upon seats, I saw 4 and 20 elders sitting clothed in white raiment, and they had on their heads crowns of gold. Well, Freeman Abel, he did these numbers. And when you take the circle of 60, these numbers around, you get 24 vibrations. So of course, those vibrations you're going to be able to see. If you have those visions, you're seeing these vibrations, and these vibrations are what make you. They're part of your DNA. They're part of your Akashic record. So of course you would see 24. It's all beautiful. I'm not going to get into the details of how he came above that. That'll be for the metaphysical astrology group. But there's a reason why we see these things. They're all vibrations. They're beautiful vibrations to get us to this part where we get to be revealed that's happening to us. So that's it for today. I hope I gave a good path on what's happening with the throne, but it's your throne, nobody else's throne. This story is about you, and all the different writings and all the Babel words that everybody puts together is all coming together and to give you signs to show you that this is about you. But the easiest thing to remember is just to use pure love. It's the weighing of the heart ceremony. And that doesn't happen when we die, because this is in reality death. We are here. We're loss of love when we're here, because we're not pure love. If we're pure love, we wouldn't be here.